Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to another Motion.io product update live stream. My name is Sam Chlebowski, co-founder of Motion.io. I join you every single Friday, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, where I am here in Colorado, to cover Motion.io's latest updates, the things we've shipped in the last week, as well as answer and respond to any of your questions that you have about our platform, even if it's unrelated to the things that we've released recently. With that, we have a bunch of cool things that we've just released this week. And I also, I'll take a second later on in this webinar after we talk about the things we released this week to circle back on some of the new things that we added last week, which includes things like our AI meeting notes feature. So we'll get into all of that today. What I'll do here first, though, is I'd love to ask, where are y'all joining us from? I last week actually did this live stream from a hotel room in Des Moines, Iowa. I was there for a family wedding, so it's a little bit atypical for me, but I'm back in the office this week in our office in Louisville, Colorado. Excited to be joining you again. So if you want to write in a comment, let me know where you're tuning in from. I love to get questions and comments, so find it good to get everybody warmed up, whether you're tuning in on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. If you put a comment in the chat, I will see it. I will respond to it live. And I love getting questions, like I said, so keep them coming. Let me know about these features and the things that you're using. I see we have Ruby joining us from Colorado. Where at in Colorado? That's awesome. Like I said, we're here, and I'm here at my office today in Louisville. But yeah, would love to know where you are if you're local. And then I also live in Denver, which is just right down the road. We also have Donald joining us from South Bend, Indiana. Hello, Donald. Great to have you with us today. Awesome stuff. So with that, the way that I like to start these things out is let's go ahead and let's take a quick peek at the Motion.io changelog, just to give you a sense of the things that we're going to be covering today. And as I go through the various things on this changelog, let me know if there's something that you want me to focus in on, or you have more questions about, send those in. So, and you're out in Aurora. That's awesome, Ruby. That's my wife works at UC Health out in Aurora. So very cool. So here we go. I will just pop open my screen here to show you our changelog. Also, we got Pierre joining us from Laval, Quebec. I have heard great things about Quebec. I've never been, Pierre. My family were there last year, though. They live, a bunch of my family, my parents live in Maine, and they went to Quebec last year and had amazing things to say. I'm very interested in visiting sometime. Great to have you with us as well. So I am in here in the Motion.io changelog. Right here, you see it. We ship almost every Wednesday. It's a really important thing to us that we're moving quickly. We're releasing the updates, the functionality that people need, as well as adding in some additional stuff that we see ways to help you onboard clients faster, manage projects in a more streamlined fashion, ultimately scale your business. So this past week, this was a good example of, hey, we ship almost every Wednesday because the release actually came out on Thursday this week. So just not even 24 hours late, but we still got it in. So with that, a couple of really new cool things. We have the new portal guest role. This is really cool if you have clients that need limited involvement in a project and you don't want them to see the entire details of that project in their portal, but maybe need them to complete a task. This is something you can also use for folks like contractors that maybe just have one thing they need to do as a part of a project. I'll show you how to use this. It's really cool and provides you a lot more control over who can access what on the client side in your portals. From there, we also have the enhanced portal preview. And this is something that we added because what we had the ability to do, and it's actually still on the platform, but previously the only way to get a true view of the client's portal, of exactly what that specific client would see, was you had to copy their link, open it in a new tab, and then pull it up. Now with this new feature, you're able to see exactly what the client will see in their portal. You can select specific clients, and it's a really streamlined and much easier experience in terms of previewing a portal and getting a sense of what clients will actually see. We've also made some updates to our portal login tracking. This is some pretty cool updates. 2 weeks ago or so, we released an update where project owners get sent an email notification when clients access their projects in their portal for the first time. And now we've built some of that information into the activity feed of your individual projects. And I'll show you where to find that, what it looks like here in just a couple of minutes. Another thing I want to talk about as well down here in the bug fixes and improvements section, there's an update here that might have almost, you might have missed if you were skimming this quickly, but has been highly requested by our users. And that is the ability to send contracts as a part of Zapier workflows. So we've had this file upload action in Motion.io for a while now, but one of the things that it didn't include was your signed contracts. Now, with this update, and I'll show you a workflow for this as well, you can automatically trigger a Zap workflow when a contract is successfully completed. And what that is going to do is you can do all sorts of things like send it to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever external file management system you might be using with a pretty simple and easy Zapier workflow. Another thing that I will just double click on from last week were some cool new features that we've added around meeting notes in Motion.io. And this is something that actually, since we released it, we were looking at the statistics earlier this week. We have a ton of people using these meeting notes with the AI summaries. It's really been really amazing to see just how many meetings were already logged in the platform. I believe it was like 100 different users are already actively using this new feature. This is really cool if you're using, just to mention briefly, I will show you later, but what makes these AI meeting summaries so cool is basically you can take that transcript that you used a tool like Fathom, like Otter, like Fireflies to generate, plug that into Motion.io, we'll clean it up and even recommend you some tasks that you can create. So it really streamlines that aspect of, I hopped off of this call. Now I got to go create all of these tasks in Motion.io. Now that is really streamlined in the platform because you can plug in your notes and we'll suggest tasks and already configure them for you. So you just have to click a button and then save them. And you're able to get tasks created right after a meeting. And you can remove that sort of scramble that I know is really common after you get off, one client call and then on to the next. And there's also a way to automate this with Zapier, which I will show you a workflow for as well. So that's kind of the high level stuff of what I'll be talking about today. That said, if you have questions about other things in Motion.io, maybe you're new, you want to know, hey, what's the best way for setting this up? Or, Sam, what do you recommend for a best practice of a way to handle this type of project or this type of client or situation? Let me know. Happy to get into the details, down into the nitty gritty with you. You got me for an entire hour here, so please ask away. With that, I'm going to get into the first big feature that we released this week, which is the new portal guest role. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and hop into one of my accounts here. And I'm also going to tell you a little bit about situations you might want to be using the portal guest role for. So with that, let's go ahead, share my screen here. So, and also let me move this banner here out of the way. Okay, perfect. So I am here in my Motion.io account, and the process for adding guests to portals, super duper easy. So I am going to click into this M&T Events digital advertising project. And just to make an example easy of like the type of person and the type of things that you would want to add a guest to the portal versus a full client. Typically, this is going to be for people who don't need full access to the entire project. So who is this? Well, this might be a manager of the client that you're working with. Maybe, there are people on the project who are really involved in the day-to-day. Their manager might not be someone who is going to be actively involved or having to complete tasks every day. Maybe they just need to do one task here or there. This can also be people who are maybe just related to the project in some way. So for example, like a third party that you work with. I know that for some of our clients in the real estate space, something they do sometimes is, they will have, they're, buying or selling a house. Their client, though, that is working with them to buy or sell a house has a mortgage lending company that they're working with. And to get for example, the purchase of a house across the line, there's certain documentation that they might need from that mortgage lender that they're working with. So that's a good example of somebody you might add as a guest role, where that mortgage lender, maybe they're submitting like a pre-approval as a task for the client that you're working with. But another great example, and the example that I'm going to show you today, is also contractors. People who might need like just one thing, might be responsible for just one single task on a project. They don't need full access to it, but you want to be able to have them complete a task, upload files that are related to the project and keep it moving forward, and automatically remind them about those types of things. So, but in general, the people you are adding as guest users instead of full-on clients, they're going to be people you just want very limited access to go in and do this thing related to a project. They don't need to see everything in the project, because the only thing, and I will show you this here in a minute, the only thing guest clients will be able to access is just their tasks and their files. So here in my digital advertising project for M&T Events, I have a person I want to add to this project, and they're just going to be designing some of the ad creative for this project. They're not involved in the day-to-day. Our team is managing that, but I do have these two tasks here for somebody to build the Meta campaign creative and the LinkedIn campaign creative. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to click Add User within this project. And then all I have to do next is I'll simply adjust this role from client to client guest. Next, I will go ahead and I will add my client here. This is contractor Colin. I added this person to the directory, Motion.io's client directory, which you can access over here already. But if you wanted to, you could add, you could create a new client on the fly. So I'll click Add Guest here, and you'll see we very clearly call this out of who has full access and who has guest access. So these two people, Jane Smith and Tate Smith, they are regular clients, meaning they'll be able to access the entire portal, the project progress tracker, view all tasks within the project. But then Colin here, he's only going to be able to access just the tasks that are assigned to him, as well as files that he might have uploaded. So next, I want to talk about the quick way to be able to view what this person is going to see. And this is another thing that's included in our update this week. But before I do that, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go back to my tasks view here, and let me just assign some tasks for this guest I just added to the project to complete. So I will go ahead and set assignees, add contractor Colin to these two tasks, and I'm going to go ahead and activate them. Okay, so do a quick refresh on this. Colin is all added to these tasks, and now I'm going to preview this to show you what it is going to look like to him. So the way that I will do this is up in the top right corner of your project. So this is the view of an individual project. You'll have this option that says preview portal as ... And you'll be able to select what specific client you want to view this portal as. In my case, I wanted to show you what it looks like from the guest side when you invite a guest user to a project. So I'm going to click Contractor Colin here. And then I'm going to share this screen really quick. And what's cool about this, and you can see it right here, is this is going to show you exactly what this person is going to see. And you can even notice this down here in your bottom left corner of your account. It says previewing portal as contractor Colin. And there's just 3 tabs in here. There's home, there's my tasks, and files. So to complete these tasks, this person, Colin, that I just added, can go in, go to their tasks, go ahead and knock these out, mark them complete, and they are good to go. If your guests upload files as a part of completing a task, they'll be able to view those right here. But only the files that they've uploaded are going to appear on that screen. So this is a really exciting addition to Motion.io for us, just because it was something that people had been asking for a long time of like, hey, there's all of these other people that I work with on projects that, I don't really need them to have full access, or it's actually, it could be detrimental for them to have full access to the project. And I'd like to be able to segment things a little bit more. And this new guest role functionality allows you to do just that from the client side, where you can still assign tasks. You can automate those follow-ups, those reminders for people to complete them. But the guest users that you add are not going to have access to other important information within the project. Things maybe you don't want them seeing, like other tasks. Maybe there's contracts or information in there that you don't want them to have access to, as well as the project progress tracker. They're not going to have access to that. With that, I will say that if you are trying to decide whether or not somebody should have guest access or full access to the project, a quick way to do that is like, if you want a person to see the full project progress tracker and the things that you're doing in there, that's somebody you're going to want to add as a full client instead of a guest. So any additional questions about that, I'm happy to answer. Like I said, this is a really exciting new addition to Motion.io for us. If you have questions about how to use this, follow up on who specifically you might want to add as a client versus a guest, please let me know right in the chat. Happy to go over those questions live. Also, just to go back quickly to our new enhanced portal preview option. Well, I previewed a guest client the first time. I can also preview full-on clients, meaning people who have access to everything in the project that I've added. So I'll select Jane Smith here. And this is somebody who works like they are directly on my client's team. And to just show you what they will see is they get full access to all of the various custom tabs within the project. They can view the project progress tracker. They can also access all of the tasks throughout the project, as well as all of the files that have been shared with them, and not just their own files they've uploaded like a guest. The other really important thing, and one of the big reasons why we added that guest role, is clients are going to have access to the real-time chat in their portal, whereas guests are not going to be able to have access to the project chat. That's going to be hidden from them. So now that we've talked a little bit more about the portal preview option, hopefully this is something that is going to be well used and help you really streamline that initial understanding of like, hey, what can my various clients see in their portals? What does it look like to them? With that, let's go ahead and zoom out for a second. And I'm going to talk about our next feature, which is improved portal login tracking. I had mentioned this, we were going through the change log a little bit ago, but a couple of weeks ago, we added a notification where project owners would receive an email when their client logged in to a project that they were assigned as the owner on for the first time. What we've done now is expanded that functionality to make it so that if a client logs into their portal, any team member on on the project can also see that information within the activity log. So to even go back to my example that I was just showing you, pop my screen back up here. If I go into the activity page for this M&T events project, which I can do by just clicking this notification bell here, this is where the login information would appear. So I'm just going to go ahead and let me log in as the client that I added really quick, just to trigger this update here. And now if I go into Colin's activity feed over here, so this is taking a second to load, I can see right here that contractor Colin logged into their portal for the very first time. And I can see very clearly that, okay, great. Colin is able to access their portal. They've logged in. I know that they have the correct access. And one of the big reasons why we've added and focused on providing you with this information of like when the first time clients log in is because sometimes clients will say they don't know how to access something or haven't been able to access it. And it's just nice to have that reassurance that, oh, okay, you were able to access it initially. What's going on? Did you just lose the link? And it helps you diagnose maybe those types of things that might come up, as well as it's a really good measure of like, is my client engaged in the project? Are they logging in? Are they able to do all of the things that I need them to do? And just provides that confidence, that feeling of security that, hey, this is great. This portal's working. We're going to get the things back that we need from this client on time. So any questions about that, I am happy to answer. Just to circle back on this as well, if you are assigned to the project owner role, for example, on this digital marketing project, you can see I've assigned myself to the owner role. You will also get a notification when a client accesses their portal for the first time. So we've explained our first three things on the list. One of the last things I want to cover in this week's release that's was a very, very highly requested addition by a couple of various clients that we've been working with for quite a while that have been using Motion.io for well over a year, is the ability to have contracts in Zapier. And we have found a way this week to make that happen. And it's a really great addition if you are using Zapier to do things like send files from Motion.io to other places. And let me go ahead. I'm going to show you a workflow, and we're going to set it up live of how you can take a completed contract signed in Motion.io, send that over to something like Google Drive or Dropbox. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to pop into my Zapier account. And if there's anybody in the audience watching this for the first time, you are not familiar with Zapier, basically what it is just a way to connect different tools together and have them speak to each other and automate things that need to happen. So you don't have to, for example, manually download and upload a file to Google Drive, or so you don't have to do things like manually enter information into a spreadsheet. Let's go ahead. I'll pop this up. And I'm here in my Zapier account. So what I'm going to do is I have a new Zap I'm working on here. Let's just give this a quick name. I'll just say send contract from Motion.io to Google Drive. For my trigger event here, I am going to search for Motion.io. And an important call out here is that after I select Motion.io as my trigger and go ahead and connect my account here, whoops, Sorry, selected the wrong one. The way that I'm going to trigger this is from the file, is using this file uploaded. So whenever a file is uploaded in Motion.io, it's going to trigger this. This is going to catch contracts as well, though. So from here, what we are going to do is I'm going to test this very quick. Let me go ahead and just create, I'm going to complete a contract quick just for our testing purposes. 1 second. Okay. Go ahead and test this. Great. And then what I will do for my action here is I'm going to choose the upload file Google Drive action. So this is a very quick and easy way to set this up. If you just want, hey, any file uploaded in Motion.io, you could send it to a folder. But if you want to go ahead and get a little bit more specific for this, this is just kind of the bare bones of the workflow to give you an example of what this might look like. But let's say I wanted to place this file or contract into a specific folder. What I could also do is go into Google Drive and add an additional step where I will find a folder. And by searching for a folder, I could add this to a specific client. An example of the way that you might do this here is I could find a folder based on the client's name. So for example, if I'm using standardized naming conventions and I have a folder in my project that is just the client's business name, this is a really great way to kind of map this information so you can automatically find the correct folder as well. And I'm going to use the client's business name, which is M&T Events, to find, and I'll do folder name contains, find my associated folder in Google Drive. And then the next step, I will make sure that this is mapped to the specific folder I want to upload that file to. So a really cool workflow that enables you to send things to outside of Motion.io, in this case, contracts. I see we have a question that came in from Pierre. Thank you so much for writing in. Can we use the free program of Zapier to connect to Motion.io? Yeah, so this is going to work with the free version of Zapier. You can absolutely connect it to Motion.io. The one limitation that you will run into, just to give you a heads up with the free version of Zapier, is it's only going to allow you to do 2-step zaps. You can't have 3, 4, 5, whatever step zaps. The free version of Zapier is going to limit you to just a trigger event and an action. So that's important to be mindful of, but it will fully work with Motion.io. And if you only have a 2-step zap, for example, if you just want to send things to Google Drive whenever a file is uploaded, this is the type of zap you'd be able to set up on that free version. I'll also put out, it's on my radar to put out a full in-depth tutorial of this, just because I know there's so many types of different use cases for the file uploaded and sending them elsewhere. Well, Motion.io, we have our own built-in file storage. What I find is a lot of times people will want to keep using their existing system. There are maybe years of records in there, and they just want to sync everything up. Even though every file that is uploaded, whether that's your team uploading them or your clients uploading them, is still going to be available within Motion.io. You don't have to send them elsewhere, but this is a nice kind of streamlined option if you do. So if there's any additional questions about that, please write in. Oh, and I actually see we have Ruby writing in from Ruby Designs Website Consulting. Oh, sorry, it's Cassandra from Ruby Designs Web Consulting Agencies. What if I have clients that have different folders? Can I set up the app to where when they finish something, it lands in the folder in which it needs to go for their particular project? So let's say, and I think there's a second part to this question. If you want to send that in, I'm happy to address that. But in this case, Yeah, exactly what you would do here to make sure that things land in the correct folder is you would just add this additional step, and I'll pop my Zapier account back up here. What you would do here, Cassandra, is add this find folder action from Google Drive. And this is what's going to allow you to retrieve that correct folder and upload it. And I believe that should answer your question, but please let me know if you're talking about something slightly different or want me to kind of dig in deeper with you there. Another way to trigger this workflow, you can also trigger a similar workflow on task completed. So if you want to also send things like forms to Google Drive, like a form submission, you could choose our alternate form submission trigger, select your form, and another example of something you might want to do with this, let's just change it from Google Drive. You could change it to a Google Sheet if you're using a Google Sheet to log things independently of Motion.io. And you could just, use the create row and just repeat this until all of your form data gets over to that Google Sheet. Oh, and there's a follow-up to Cassandra's question here. Be able to have files uploaded directly to a particular folder in Google Drive. How can I make sure that the person's name when they fill out that form and put in their folder? Oh, yeah. So another great thing that you can do here, Cassandra, if you're trying to actually create those folders for a specific task, or a really cool way that I would suggest doing that is what you can do is, so let's say you want to trigger a Zapier workflow when their onboarding form is completed. So I would select my onboarding form here. Let's go ahead and continue. Test this here real quick. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. Okay, perfect. So instead of uploading a file or finding a folder, what I could do here is I can actually use Google Drive's Zapier integration to create a folder. And this way I can assure that the folder that I create in Google Drive is going to be mapped exactly to the client's name or business name. And I don't even have to worry about naming conventions or anything like that. So for example here, select my account. And what I will do for this folder name here to create the folder in Google Drive is I'm going to go ahead and click the plus button. And I will use the client's name who submitted the form. In this case, this form looks like it was submitted by my co-founder, our CTO, Zach Garbow. So I would create a folder with that name from the form submission. And does that answer your question, Cassandra? I'd love to know if you do have additional things you want to learn about Zapier, things that you might need help setting up. Our support desk, everybody in there is very knowledgeable on Zapier. We're happy to provide some additional guidance. And this goes for anybody else watching this as well. If you have questions about Motion.io, there's things you need help with, things you want to learn, please feel free. Email us anytime at hello@motion.io. During the workday, we oftentimes respond within the hour, sometimes even much sooner than that. So you can send your questions there. And I see a follow-up from Cassandra here. Now, if I didn't want to set up a Zap, could I download all of the files at that particular client uploaded from their project and upload them directly in, or no? Yes, absolutely. And let me jump into Motion.io to show you how you would be able to do that. So I'm closing out of Zapier, popping back into my Motion.io account. And the way that you could do that here, and got to go to a project that actually has files in it. Sorry about that. Okay, so this has a bunch of files in it. What I'm going to do is let me just drag and drop these into this folder here. And in your file management area of your Motion.io projects, you're able to download things in bulk. So a folder, for example, so this client files folder that I've created, this top level folder. If I wanted to download everything in that, I could just click download. And then once this was completed, I could then extract that. It's going to be a zip file initially, but you could extract the zip file and then go ahead and upload it directly into your Google Drive. So yes, absolutely do not have to use Zapier. We provide you tools in app for downloading things in bulk. And this covers not only files, but also form submissions. So one of the things you might not know that you can also do in Motion.io is you can go into your forms library and download submissions in bulk as well. And this is going to create a download export as a CSV file. And then you can import that maybe into Google Sheets, Excel, whatever you're using. But just another quick tip there, if you're looking to bulk download things and add them elsewhere from the system. But some great questions, and keep the questions coming in. These have been some fun ones today. So another thing that I wanted to circle back on, this was a update from last week, but this is our new meeting notes functionality. It allows you to upload your meeting notes, automatically transcribe them. So in our live stream here today, I'm going to show you both the manual way to do this. When I say it's a manual process, it really is just like copy and pasting. It's not like you're doing hours of work. And then I'll also show you a fully automated way using Zapier to get your meeting notes into Motion.io, whether you're using a tool like Fathom, Otter, or Fireflies. It's a pretty slick workflow that you can set up so you can automatically get those notes into Motion.io, streamline the process of creating tasks after your client meetings. So to access your meeting notes, what you're going to need to do is open a project. And I'm going to go into this project we were working on earlier, this M&T digital advertising project, where we invited Colin here as a guest user. All I have to do is go up to the Notes and Meetings tabs, and I have the ability to add notes. This has been in Motion.io for a while, but if you add a meeting, what you'll see is this pretty cool new feature that allows you to summarize your meeting notes with AI. So I'm going to grab some meeting notes that I created from a Fathom transcript, Fathom transcribed my meeting and created these meeting notes. So what I'm going to do is let me just pull this up here really quick. And you can see this meeting transcription from between my team, Gusto Growth, meeting with M&T Events on October 1st. So I'm just going to go ahead, quickly copy all of this information. I'll go from the bottom up. That seems to be working better for me. Okay. And then I'm simply going to paste this into Motion.io. Click Summarize with AI. And this is what I always suggest turning on, because this is what's going to suggest tasks for you to create and configure those tasks for you. And then after I click Save, you will see that your transcription is in progress. And you're also going to receive an email when the transcription is complete. And the reason why that does take just a minute or two to generate that transcription and I realized that you probably didn't see just like the very last step of that because it's still in the other tab. But let me go ahead and just re-add this here to show you once again how this AI meeting notes work. So I'm going to go ahead, click AI meetings, click Add Meeting, paste in my notes, and then just click Summarize with AI and save. And the reason why we send you an email about this is because it does take the AI just a minute or two to generate the transcript for you. But it is going to you are going to get notified of that directly in the email inbox associated with your account. And let me see here. And once that transcription is complete, what it will look like, this is one that I transcribed ahead of this webinar, is you'll see that at the bottom, it's suggested, Motion.io's AI that is, it suggested tasks for me to create. And I am very able to easily click create task. And you'll see it's even pulled in some details for me. So for example, this was a meeting, and the meeting notes that I uploaded were to review some campaign creative with a client. One of the tasks that was called out in the meeting was for me to revise their creative, adding some new product photography. What Motion.io has done here is it's actually, it's given the task a title. It's also assigned me directly to the task. And all I have to do in the case of this example is just select the right stage for it. And I'll be able to know, great, that task is created. I know what to do. And there's no hangups or roadblocks related to getting the client their final version of their creative. But this also, I think it's important to note, is also going to work with client tasks. So in the meeting, one of the things that were also called out was this team we're working with, M&T Events. They said, hey, we have some updated product photography, and I can't do the work that I'm assigned to until they provide that. So using this create task option, I went ahead and created a task, and this was pre-configured for me to ask this specific person who brought this up, in this case, Jane Smith, to upload that new product photography. And in just a couple of clicks, I can create this task for them. I know it's handled, and it really helps avoid some of those things where some of those times when things slip through the cracks of something a client says that they want you to do or something that they need to provide you with. This is a really great way to avoid those types of things after your client meetings, keeping the project running smooth, stress-free, and good to go. So I do see that we have another comment in here from Cassandra. I think this was related to what we were talking about earlier, the file uploads. That's wonderful. Now I see that it's all of the files that have been uploaded. Is there a way to know which file belongs to which person back there? So then I'm only downloading their files. So a very simple way you could do this here, just because if you have a ton of clients on your project there, Cassandra, what I would suggest doing is just going ahead and grouping them into individual files on a per person basis, if you will. So for example, I could create a new folder. Let's say that I'm a client on this folder or on this project, just keep the example easy. So for example, Sam Chlebowski's files, I could go ahead and drag all of these in, download them in bulk. But one of the things you'll also notice is within your files, it is going to display which user uploaded which specific file, making it really easy to even filter between types of files. And in the file management library of every single project, we have this really cool bulk actions that you can click on by selecting all files. And you can see it breaks down by direct uploads, client uploads, approvals, attachments, form uploads, and signed contracts, as well as being able to view which files were uploaded related to a specific task. So for example, this was some website wireframes we sent to a client for them to review, annotate, and approve. And all I have to do is select this task feedback on wireframe, and it's going to show me all of the files related to that task. So definitely encourage you leverage this this option here when you have a ton of different files in your projects. It's also helpful, I think, to call out that the file management area of your Motion.io projects operates on a per project basis. So for example, the files that are included in M&T Events, I'm not going to be able to access in this Larry's Laundry project. It's going to have its own set of files, its own set of folders. related to the work that is being done just in that project. I see we have another follow-up question here. Now, when I create a project, does it automatically create that folder? And how do I connect the project to this folder, or are they completely separate? And how do they communicate with each other? Yeah, so and that was actually kind of just what I was just mentioning there, Cassandra. And maybe you asked this, I might not have seen it in time. Maybe you asked this as I was providing the answer to that exact question. But yeah, so the folders and the files within them, they operate on a per project basis. So even if you have a folder with the same name, so for example, in this case, in Larry's Laundry here, I have a client files folder, but it's going to remain unique from project to project. Something else and it was kind of the first part of your question, which was how do I automatically create the names of the folders I'm going to be using every time? I love this question, and I think it's helpful to dig into this. So the way that you're going to do that is through templates. And I don't know kind of how familiar you are with Motion.io if you're just getting set up and running. But one of the things I definitely recommend you do to get started is setting up a template for your work. You can even start it small, just start with the initial onboarding stage and work up, build it up from there. But what templates are going to allow you to do is they operate and they look nearly identical to what an active project looks like, with the exception of all of the tasks being in the draft status and not having a project tracker. But after you edit these templates, any of the tasks you create, any of the portal pages you create, so going here and customizing these various pages, they're all going to flow through to new projects you create from that template. An example of something else that's going to flow through are all of the files and all of the folders and files within this file management area. So if you are using very specific folders every single time you launch a new project, what you could do is just set them up. And so I'm going to say, what should we call this folder? We'll just call it template folder. Let's call it images. And then I could add another folder. Maybe we'll call it videos. Now that I've set these up, these are going to pull through and automatically be included. They're going to be empty, but they're going to be automatically included in any new projects I create from this template. One other thing to pay attention to as you are doing this is that you can also either show or hide files and folders in a Motion.io portal at the template level, as well as configure this in individual projects. So in this case, let's say I wanted just my client files and client guides folders to appear. What I would do is I would just unshare these folders. But if I wanted to, after some files were uploaded here, I could reshare them to the client whenever I was ready. By default, if you upload something to the files area of a project, let me just go into a project here. So I'll upload a file. Whoops. Just from my desktop here. Click upload. What you will notice is if you or your team uploads a folder, by default, those are not going to be visible to clients. But if I wanted to, for example, send this conference handout to my client, I could go ahead. Let me just create a new folder here. And if I've shared this folder, anything I add to it is going to be automatically also viewable to the client there. So hopefully that answers your question. Our file management library in Motion.io, it's gone through a couple of different renditions. This latest version, I think we launched probably about 2 months ago, is awesome. I think it has every single thing you might need in terms of like making sure clients have access to the right folders, being able to sort things and filter them effectively, as well as bulk downloading things that you want from your Motion.io project. So great questions. And yeah, those were pretty fun to answer here today. So With that, we are coming up on an hour here. So I will do one final call for any questions, anything at all you want to learn about Motion.io. A great example of that today, we were talking about our latest update, but then we got into a lot of stuff about file management, which was cool to go over, and even a nice refresher from me. So with that, wanted to remind everybody, we do these live streams every single Friday. Same time, same place, same channels, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. And I thank you all for tuning in this week. One other final thing to note is if you are looking for additional help, tips on ways to use this, I shared our support email earlier, but we also have a very detailed knowledge base on the Motion.io project. If you are on the Motion.io product, if you have not checked that out, you can get there by going to help.motion.io. We even have a little widget on there where you can chat with us directly. With that, everybody, this has been a great start to my Friday. I'm going to sign off here for now, finish up my day. Hope to see you back again soon. Take care and enjoy your weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.